So I'm going to go to a 1/2 inch flat. I'm going to focus on the pumpkin, okay? I see this pumpkin is being an orange pumpkin. All right, 1/2 inch flat. You can use that, or you can use a, oh, I'm so sorry. Or you can use an angle brush. I was going for my other plate. Okay, so I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to pull out my white, all right? Sometimes when you have a canvas like this, it's a little bit like, I don't know if the word's grainy, but you can put a little white on first, okay? Because I'm going to make it a little bit lighter at the top anyway. But then I'm going to take some orange and white, and I'm going to start stringing it through here. It a lot of times will blend a lot better if you have a little bit of paint on it first. So if you have a canvas like this, we're just going to make long strokes, guys, long strokes, pulling down and lifting off, okay? I do want a little bit more white towards the top, so I'm going to start with the white and wipe off my brush. When we come back and highlight this after it gets tacky dry, you can always pull a little bit more brightness through here, okay? So there's a couple of things you can do with this. You can add in some reds. I have like a deep red. You can add in a little bit of burnt sienna. This is a crimson red. I might pull through here, like I say, I might want a little bit like on this side. And I'm going to show you also how to make a nice shadow on here as well. But I'm not going to just stick with just the orange. I'm going to pull in a couple other shades in here. I'm lifting off, lifting off, lifting off. I'm going to show you how I put in a shadow at the bottom using a tiny bit of water in my paint just because my canvas is one of those canvases. Okay, lifting off. Where my pencil lines are, right next to it, I'm going to leave a tiny bit of white whenever I go to the next rib, okay? You can grab a little burnt sienna if you want to. That's a reddish brown. You can always put a little bit of red into a Van Dyke brown if you don't have it, okay? So I am going to apply a little pressure going down the sides. I'm using the skinny part and sometimes going to the wide part. All right, because I want to work wet on wet, I want a little bit of a shadow towards the bottom. I'm actually going to turn this upside down. All right, I'm dropping my easel down just because I have to paint how it's more comfortable for me. I like to use this purple lake, sometimes a little bit of black at the bottom as well, okay? So I want a little bit of a shadow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up against this bottom here. With this canvas, I'm going to need a little bit of water for this to start, okay? A little bit of black, a little bit of purple lake. I'm not used to where this camera is yet with this new arm. I keep testing out arms. So I'm going to pull this up through here, okay? We're going to get the darkness in. And we do want to work like wet on wet. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to flip this over after I get this in. But you are lifting off, lifting off, lifting off, okay? A little bit of water. And you'll start pulling like some of your orange in through here too. Like I said, you'll need some water if you have a canvas like me. And we're going to do a little bit of a dance. I'm going to come back around, flip it back around. And we'll pull our orange into there. So I will be moving this a little bit, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. Okay, so make sure you have most of that out of there, and then you're going to get your purple and white, and you're going to make these long strokes, and you're going to lift off as you're coming down into this darkness, okay? It's okay if you bring some of this up, but your strokes when you're lifting off, you're going to be lifting off at different points, okay? If you lift it off at the same point every time, you are going to develop a rectangle in here or a box in here. So you see how sometimes my strokes are longer, sometimes my strokes are shorter, okay? And that's because I want to feather it off at different sections each time. So I'm making it a little bit darker down here because, and you could probably use a little dioxazine purple instead of this purple lake, but I find the purple lake looks really nice with the orange. And then you kind of get your perspective once this is turned back around. And if you needed a little bit more black, I just touched white. If you need a little bit more black towards the bottom, you can then go and put it in and pull up, okay? A little bit more of a shadow down there. And it'll look a little bit better to your eye once you get more of the pieces in, okay? So that's my start for one piece, okay? I will come back and I'll decide where I'm gonna highlight. In my eyes, I'm gonna make the light hit around the top more than the center, okay? So I'm gonna wash with my brush. I'm gonna pull out my white first. I'm going to go to this next pumpkin rib. There's still a little bit of orange in my brush, which is totally fine. I'm going to pull down and lift off. Now, in between the pumpkin ribs, make sure you can see everything. There we go. I'm going to leave a little bit of white. So I'm going to be a little, you don't want to leave a lot, just a hair, okay? I'm going to slow and steady as I go down there. A little bit of white in between the two. Get pretty close. Don't leave like a gaping amount. Okay, you need a little bit of water with your paint. And lift off. They come down. Okay, so we're gonna do very similarly to what we did before. So I'm gonna start. It's a little dark. I probably should wipe that off my brush, but I'm gonna bring it down the whole way. Then I'll blend it out. So I use my paint towel a lot. So what you don't get to see with me doing this on my easel is my paint towel. So I'm tapping it in between to make sure that I don't have too much. I'm going to get more white here. But I'm constantly using my paint towel. So we get those paint towels. They're in our master supplies link if you want to get them. You can get like 20 paint towels or 100 paint towels for $20. We use them like crazy. So we get 500 for $60 on Amazon, and they're fantastic. And you can just, keep washing them. We rarely have to toss them until you use like texture or something like that. So I'm just going to get some of my darker color down here, and then I'm going to flip it over. Get really close here, guys. Don't leave like a gaping amount, okay? I'm going to go back. I'm getting some of my red and burnt sienna. I'm pulling some of those colors through here, and then I'll fade it out once we get that purple in the bottom, all right? I'm going to bring this up a little further. We'll fade this out in a second. Grab a little bit of my orange with white and pull it through here. I want to blend that out. I don't want to let that dry like that, because it'll be harder to work out afterwards. So I'm wiping my paintbrush and my paint towel before I grab paint again when I feel like I need to get a color off of there. So like I just did it again. I don't want to let those dry, like those areas dry, whenever I have a harsh line in through there, okay? My touch is very light when I'm doing this. And then I'm going to pull a little bit more of the dark brown, like through here. I feel like this red is showing up too much. When I get my purple lake up through here, I'll pull it up there too. But I just feel like right now with my eye, like looking at that, I feel like it's just too much. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over again and drive you crazy. I'm sorry. So this piece has a little bit more red to it, red tone, but I like it to be a little bit more of the purples and the browns and stuff. So I'll probably change it up. So we're going to do the same thing, which you can't see. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull this through here. Need a little bit of water with mine. Do my black and my purple lake. And then I'll lift off and pull up, okay? See how grainy that is? Make sure that you can see. I'm going to pull this up here. I'm going to get pretty close. Lift off, lift off, lift off. Kind of want to use a decent amount of water in there just because of the canvas. Okay, I'm going to get more orange in here because I feel like it's too red. I pulled too much red. So I'm blending mine out with orange. And then I'll come back through the other way and pull my other colors. Now, while we're down here, you could start on the next one if you want to be a little quicker. But like I said, I like to work like wet on wet. You can keep this right here if you feel like you have your perspective and pull your lighter colors right through this. Taking your pressure off as you're coming to the end. So you can do that, okay? Do you feel like the coloring is a little bit better now? I might want to pull, just to make these go, you know, a little bit, you know, go together a little bit better. I can pull a little bit of this darker color into this piece next to it, a little bit of the red, burnt sienna. I can pull a little of that in there, pull it all together. Use a little bit of water again because this is patchy with this canvas. Okay, so if you didn't want me to flip around so much, I can start on the shadow on the next one while I'm here, if you want me to. So I can start with my dark colors like here and pull up, leaving a tiny bit of white in between. Tiny bit. If you lose that, we can put it back in. I usually close it off pretty good anyway before I call it quits, before I'm done with the painting. Okay, so then I'm going to, I don't leave a big gaping amount. I'm gonna grab my orange, I'm gonna start blending it into that. A little bit of pressure when you need to make a nice line, and a little bit of water, okay? So I'm getting my orange, maybe a little of the burnt sienna, and I'm going to I feel like I have to get a little bit more of the darkness with the purple down towards the bottom here, and then pull it up. Okay, and then I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to wipe off my brush and my paint towel, and I'm going to start getting my orange and my whites. And I want to start pulling off and coming into this area. We will pull some of our darkness up through here too. A little bit of orange with the browns in there. I'll probably have to bring some darkness up from the bottom a little bit more. I'm going to start getting my white before I go up any further too. I want to get a little bit more of my purple, that black, and I want to pull that through here a little bit more. I feel like it needs a little bit of darkness right in through here. And see, down here, I won't have too much of the white show through. It's just it's going to become very thin and fine. I'm going to streak some of my darkness up through here as well. I'm going to get a little bit of that purple. I'm going to put it in through here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my orange and my white. I give a little bit too much orange in there. And then I'm going to start in this area. I'm going to pull it down. A little bit of pressure on the edge. I'm going to use chunkier paint up here. And I need more white. So I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm just going to get white. I go in here. And take the wide part sometimes, and I'm going to lift off and pull down. I'm going to have to do my little dance and come back with a little bit of my orange as well. Pull this in through the center. Just trying to get a couple chunky highlights in there, which is just a little thicker paint. Right there. There we go. I need a couple of those like brighter pieces in there. And I'm actually going to go and touch this and do the same thing with just a little bit of white on my tip. Just a little chunkier up here and pull down. Just white, that's all. Just wanted to add. Once this gets tacky dry, you can always get a little bit more of a highlight on there if you need it, okay? I love building up pumpkins. It's just so relaxing. A lot of pumpkins paintings. So I like that. Some people like to use yellows in this too. We do pumpkins all different colors. So if you're in the HQ membership, pull up the word pumpkins. You're gonna see like a ton of pumpkin paintings. There's so many to choose from. So I'm gonna get like maybe a little bit, you can use any of your browns, your purple, and a little bit of my orange to get this corner. I need this edge to be a little darker when I'm coming around here, and then I'm gonna pull it up and in. So I'm gonna get that super close right there. Leave a little bit of white in between this piece and the other pieces. I'm gonna pull it up and in. Long strokes, lifting off. Less paint up here, like darker paint. It's gonna be a little lighter. You need to as you come in through here, okay? Pieces in the back are just as important as the pieces in the front to make the painting look right, okay? I think I need to bring this out. Go further. We're gonna use a script liner brush also to go around edges if you need it, okay? But right now, okay with that. I think I need a little bit of orange, like here. I need a little bit brighter orange. It's a little too dull. And then I'm gonna wipe off my brush, get a little bit of white, and I'm just gonna kind of highlight this right here. Light touch, okay? I feel like I need some brightness here. I feel like that's a little dark on that edge. You want to keep the outside edge a little darker, but I feel like I need a little bit of brightness like right here. Okay. So like that. I am going to do the same. I'm going to get a little brown, little purple, maybe a little touch of black and some orange to start on that back piece right here. So I'm going to do that little bit of an arch. I'm going to lift off and I'm going to pull in. Then we're going to get some white after we wipe this off. Actually, let's just do these two pieces at the same time. They're small pieces, not going to dry. In the meantime, I want to get that piece in. Leave a little bit of white in between. Wiping off my brush, getting my white, and then we're gonna kind of like streak this a little bit, but leave that that darker mark on the outside. If you need a round brush in here, you feel more comfortable with a round brush, you can do that. Okay. So far, I'm liking it. I think a little bit more of a white mark right there, maybe. Again, step back, take a look at it. Since we're over here, we can go on the other side of here, the other side of this pumpkin, and we're gonna get our darker colors first, okay? Still not washing my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna do the arch here. Let's do another arch here. Okay, let's do them both. pull this down and follow. See how grainy it is? And I'm going to pull this part down using the skinny part and make sure you can see everything. Down, pull down, pull down. I just made a mark right here I don't like. I'll have to put some white over that or wipe it off. One or the other. Okay, so I'm going to wipe that off with my paint towel. I'm going to get my white. I'm going to kind of like touch up in here with the skinny part, okay? And then I'm going to pull down, make some lighter marks in here, just white. And I feel like this also needs the orange, you know, so I need to like go back here, make sure that we don't lose all of our orange. It's an orange pumpkin. So I'm going to get some orange in there also, okay? I don't want to try to smudge out that like little tiny piece. I'm putting my paintbrush in my mouth, sorry. I'm going to get a short white brush, or short round brush, take a little bit of white, and just going to get rid of that little mark I made. Because we did the loose background, we can do stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to keep this going over. I'm going to wipe off my brush again. I'm going to get my purple, maybe a little bit of my dark brown again. Tiny bit of black, a little bit of orange. Okay, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between that. Now this, I have to bring it around the side. And because I have a curved canvas, I have to make sure it goes over far enough, all right? So I'm gonna, the edges, and I'm going to wipe this off and grab just white, okay? A little bit of white. I didn't need near all the colors on my plate, I don't think. I'm gonna pull my white through here. Okay. So then I'm going to go a little lighter, remember, right here at the top, leave a little bit of white in between, pull this down, and I'll have to get some of my darker colors on both sides. I kind of did that the opposite there. So I do need an edge that's a little darker, maybe not quite that dark. Orange and purple would probably do. I need an edge here. And then I'm going to get my orange and my white and pull that down. It's a little harder when you're on the edge of a canvas, a little harder. Almost need a little bit of water there. It just doesn't want to. I think I'm going to get a little bit of this darker purple with the brown and like kind of, I don't have anywhere to rest my hand here to keep a nice line, but I'm going to lightly touch like right around this inside edge a little bit to give a little bit of a shadow in there. I'm going to blend that out, and I could take some orange and some white. But you don't want to miss when things are like going off this side of a canvas too. Like you have to make your eye think everything is still going, okay? So that's important. So I need a little bit of orange in here. So I just got like solid orange. And then I wiped off my paint on my paint towel, and I'm grabbing a little bit of white because I want it a little bit brighter. Remember, I'm making it so the light is hitting up towards this top part of the pumpkin, okay? Once I get it all in, then I can go back and play with this and see what I think, because that piece I might have to play with, okay? So I'm going to go to the next piece, and I'm just going to start with my white with my little bit of orange up towards the top. I'm going to pull down, okay? I just want to start getting something in there because it'll be easier with the paint because of this canvas. So I just have a little bit of pressure there. Press a little harder where you need a line. Leave a little bit of white in between. Okay. I'm going to get my white right up here. Like I said, I'll come back and touch it with some white too. A lot of times your highlights will stay a lot better. A lot of times when you, after you come back and it's a little tacky dry. A little too much purple there. Let's grab our orange. Maybe a little of our burnt sienna down here. Long strokes. Get some orange with our white. Chunky paint here. Be a little bit more careful when you're close to your white line. Saves you some work later. Lifting off, lifting off. Remember, it's a little bit of a dance. We're going to come back and we're going to pull some brightness through here too. So you can decide if you want a little bit of red in this one also. I'm getting a little bit of water, taking my white, and now I'm going to go through here. I'm going to break this up a little bit, okay? All these dark lines, I'm going to take a little bit of white, break it up. And then we'll pull our darkness from the bottom, okay? I do feel like I need a little bit more darkness here, like on this side right here. I feel like I took a little too much of that out of there. So I'm going to put more back in. It's our tricky spot. Just trying to leave there a little bit better. Maybe a little burnt sienna there. Okay. And then we have to pull up from the bottom again. So I'm going to try to keep this here. So it'll drive you crazy. So get a little bit of black, or get a little bit of black with your purple to start. Lift up. Have water on there, okay? Flick up, flick up. This is if you don't want to flip it over. Okay? You're probably like, why didn't you tell me that before? But sometimes I just find it easier that people have to make that lift off motion. A lot of times when it's like flipped over and they're pulling down instead. Also, it's a little more comfortable for me. So I'm getting my purple. I thought I messaged everyone that I was painting, and people are still calling. So I'm going to get my purple, my brown. I really am liking the pumpkin. Although I love painting any pumpkin, any color. So yeah, you guys can look through the tutorials to see like what color pumpkins you like what color pumpkins you think will look best in your paintings, because I think we've done them every color in different tutorials. So make sure that you go through your library if you're an HQ member. If you're not an HQ member, you can go to the shop and the tutorials should be in there. There are ones that we just do for the membership when I jump in and work with the membership alone that aren't in the tutorial shop. But I think that we have almost every color somehow in there. Okay, I'm just getting, I feel like this needed a little bit more darkness here. And maybe like, this is, guys, this is a good time to step back and take a look at it and see what you like and what you don't like. See if you need to close in your spaces and with the little white lines as well. If you feel like something's a little too prominent, you can do that. If you wanted to add a little bit more brightness in some areas or low lights, you can do that as well. Like I'm probably going to take a little bit of white paint and I'm going to make some of these areas a little bit brighter, maybe towards the top. Okay, so I might go like this. Very light strokes, just some white. I'm just going to pull some of this through. Okay. And it's making it look like this is where the light is hitting my pumpkin. I want to take away all my paint. Very light touch, lifting off when I'm doing this, okay? Very light touch. Stuck my hand in paint. I'm going to pull this down and around. Okay, lean back, take a look at it. Now we have paintings too where we palette knife these highlights on here. So you take your palette knife and follow the shape. This one I don't think I'm going to palette knife it. I'm just going to leave it with the brush. Some pure white. You can layer this up how you like it, okay? And then first what I'm going to do with the stem is I'm going to color block it in with, I feel like I need a little bit of brightness right here. Maybe not white, but I needed something there. I'm going to color block the stem in dark first, and then with black and brown, and then we'll highlight that. All right. So if you feel like some of your lines in between the pumpkin ribs are too wide and white, what you do is water down your orange and your white and just basically barely touch them and get them like a little closer together. So you can do that. So it looks more like a highlight, not like a gaping, like something in between there. So sometimes I almost close them off completely down towards the bottom, and you have to get a little bit darker paint when you do that, so you can get like a little bit of your brown and close these off a little. But that's where you want to step away and look at it and be like, do I need to close them off? You know, is there too much white down there? And I do a lot of times like towards the bottom. Do it right there also. Okay, so now I think I'm pretty happy with that. If you don't have a nice edge around here also, you can always go back and use your script liner, water, and I'll show you what that is in a second. And you can water down a little bit of your darkest combination of colors, so like your orange, burnt sienna, maybe the purple, and put a little nice fine line around here. And you want to do that like with the script liner brush, and we're going to use this later for a few things too. But I use a 1/2 inch, and then I water down my paints, and then you're going to roll it to a point, and then you can lightly drag around the edge. But don't put like a very heavy outline around there, because it will really make your painting look not cohesive. Like you need to make sure that, looking for a flat brush, make sure that those lines are ever so slight. Or if you have to put some white back in here, you can use that script liner as well, okay?